There you go. Hello.
Perfect. Where are you at, by the way? You're in San Diego right now?
Yeah, I'm in my office here.
Right on. Just before we even get started, congratulations. So tell us the news. Fastest growing, best place to work. What happened?
Oh yeah, this is our year of accolades that are kind of starting to pour in. So we've hit like two fastest growing awards this week, and then we also hit the Inc. 500, Inc. magazine's best workplace as well too. So we just got selected for that as well too. And then I know I've got a couple more coming down the pipeline. I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but I've got a bunch of really cool ones coming down the pipeline as well too. So it's been a good year to feel like all the hard work we've put in the last couple of years is now starting to pay off. So it's always nice to see these types of awards, even though it's just, they're just a pretty badge, but those pretty badges mean something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm humbled to be with you, and I really respect what it has taken, probably a personal toll on you to get Sendlane to where it is today, and I think that you can see it paying off here with the recognition. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. And
Um,
thank you for having me here as well, too. I'm very excited to be here as always to kind of share the word and the information out there to hopefully reach, my goal is always to reach at least one or two people and really touch them and really give them a oomph that they might need where they might be hitting a roadblock or so forth. So very excited to be here as well, too.
Perfect. Then let me pass it over to you. We're going to talk more about marketing automation. We talked about certain channel automations. This, I think, looking at email and user flows and behavioral based automation. Jimmy, I will let you take it away. Thanks so much.
Awesome. All right. I am going to play my slide. So you guys should see my slide going up now. All right, cool. All right. Well, guys, thank you for having me here. Absolutely listening to me. In the next 30 minutes, we're really going to talk about email marketing automation, especially, and how you should be setting up yourself for marketing success. So we talk about this pretty deeply. It's something that's really important, regardless of if you're just getting started in your store, you've only got your first customer, your 1,000 customers, 100,000 customers. These are all the same basics and principles of things that you can be thinking about, not only for your store, but how to maximize revenue. Too many people sit there and think about the top of the funnel, which is the customer acquisition side. But what we like to think about is where we can take the journey once they've said yes, they make a purchase, yes, they want to hear more about you, yes, they want a newsletter. And what my goal is how to increase your bottom line, your LTV, the maximum amount of money that you can make. And that's really, really something that we think about pretty heavily here in our company, and especially how we can empower that e-commerce. So real quick, I start off with a little thing about who I am, because not everyone here knows me. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sendlane. I've been an email marketer since 2008, so a little over 11 years, almost coming to my 12th year of being an email marketer, and where I found a lot of passion in my journey. And basically what happened is during those first 5 years of it, I really discovered that I had a problem to my own solution, where you can get great tools out there, the legacy players like the MailChimps and the iContacts out there, and you can get those and they'll do all the basic stuff that you need. And I'll show you those basics in just a second. What we wanted to do is we wanted to create a better solution to solve our own problems. And that's when Sendlane is formed. And where we really differentiate ourselves and where we think about ourselves currently today, as far as product and support and everything, is really our support side of things. We run a 24/7 product support team here out of San Diego, so we're not using outsource anywhere in the world, and we run an average response time of under 1 minute actually currently, 24 hours a day. So it could be 4 a.m. wherever you are, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're stuck somewhere. We want to make sure that we can make sure your business doesn't slow down before we can continue. And then of course the bigger thing that we offer, it's something that's unheard of, is our white glove account management approach. We don't think about account management where we just say onboard, teach you, do a demo screen on my screen here, and then say good luck. We want to be that ongoing strategist to really help you. So we like to think about ourselves a little bit like an agency in some ways to really help you continue to grow. And last but not least, Sendlane's acquired over 50,000 users to this date now. We're a fast-growing company. We are a startup in nature as far as that. But, what we really like to think about is really, how we can help support our users and how we continue to build upon it. And, even our core focus, there's only two things that we focus on as a company, is content creators and e-commerce owners, which do tie in hand to hand. The only difference is some people sell digital products, some people sell physical products. And so we like to cater to both those. And that's also where my background personally comes from, is being a content creator and is being an e-commerce owner. I owned a physical clothing store / e-commerce store in Las Vegas from 2013 to 2017, where we founded a lot of these biggest pain points to be relevant and so forth. All right, so today we're going to talk about the journey of a customer. So this means that a person makes a purchase or lead and what basically happens. And this is probably at the high level. I'm going to show you these three things. This is the high level, what you're probably doing today if you've done anything or you planned on doing, and that's to integrate your shopping cart, your theme, your website, your web form, and your integration. Then you're going to collect a buyer lead with their name and email. And then every few days when you're thinking about it or you got a new product, you're going to go ahead and send out a newsletter or coupon every few days. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's what happens. It works. It's absolutely worthwhile to do it this way. And it will work at the most simple stuff. Now, what you're going to learn today, and these are the 5 things we're going to really talk about, or actually the 3 things with a couple subsets. The first thing, we're going to go on a case study. We're going to show you what it means to go beyond basic email marketing, really talking about where you can be stuck at the same problem that I had in 2013 and where you can really think about your future. Then we're going to do an introduction to really understanding what true marketing automation is, especially in the email marketing sector. And then the 3 must-have marketing automations that you should have in your marketing automation stack when you set up your Shopify store, or even when you're actively running your Shopify stores, those being abandoned carts, product recommendations, and then customer retargeting as well too. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. So let's get started. So first things first, let's start off with a case study about how you go beyond basic email marketing. Now, the basic way, though effective, is still very considered ineffective in many multiple ways. So first things first, the contacts are being sent generic, impersonalized communications, and what that results in is a loss of interest and repeat buyers. Pretty simple. No understanding of your customers' wants and needs and interests. You lose touch with your customers' buying signals. And all this relates to very simple, and I'll keep it even simpler. I've got an iPhone here. If I sell cell phone cases, right, and I bought an iPhone case and you buy it at your Shopify store and you start sending me emails about your brand new Android or Google or whatever, right, Nokia case, whatever it may be that you start sending me because you're running sales, I, as an iPhone owner, case owner, is not going to be interested in your future products, and I'll probably unsubscribe, which means that I'm out of the buying cycle. My buying signal is not going to be able to be relatable, and at that point, unless you win me through some advertising, some Facebook groups, some messengers, whatever it may be, you're probably not going to make me win back or even keep me interested in your company, right? So that's one of the things I think about when I'm thinking about how that basic way is truly ineffective, especially in that repeat buying cycle, and to maximize your ROI and LTV of your customer. So we think about the modern marketer way. I like to call this the modern marketer way because this is what new modern marketers are doing into their e-commerce stores. And this is the way that you should be thinking about it as well too. So first things first, contacts need to be hyper segmented based on location, purchase history, purchase price, website visits, etc. And that all allows you to tag and identify each and every action of each unique customer. You need to segment your users by behavior and send personalized messages. And you need to create behavioral-based dynamic automation funnels and cross-channel communications to reach your customers anywhere and anytime. And I know you're thinking right now, oh my God, that sounds a lot of work and heavy. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more and give you a little comfort and feel that these things can be done very easily and a lot easier than you probably think. Probably just as hard it is to set up your Shopify store is about as hard as we make it to get yourself set up. The hardest part is really writing what that message looks like to your customer. Now, last but not least, we want to make sure we analyze and optimize your marketing efforts with real-time analytics. So let's talk about that power of modern marketing. What does it really do in your reviews and stats? And these statistics are very much driven around what actually happens when you go out there and you start implementing these types of things as well too. So results and statistics are very simple. 77% of your ROI comes from segmented, targeted, and triggered campaigns, right? So that means that if you're able to send the right message at the right time with the right content, you're going to increase your ROI by 77%. Marketers have noticed a 760% increase. That's 7.6 times increase in revenue when you send a segmented campaign. Again, targeted campaign to the right people with the right content to be able to make sure that they're getting those emails. The next thing is segmented targeted emails generate 58% of all revenue with people who are using more modern marketing. Means that it's not all about your newsletters and campaigns where you're probably sending right now and how you're making your money. It's all about those targeted segmented emails based around behaviors and actions that are going to help drive that. And then last but not least, a relevant email will drive 18 times more revenue than a broadcast email. Again, a lot of different ways of regurgitating this in different ways, different stats, but really what this is saying is you've got to be a modern marketer, especially if you're using Shopify. Your whole goal is you don't want to be stuck in technical and using old ways. You want to be thinking forward and fast, right? So let me introduce marketing automation to you and tell you about what we think about when we think about marketing automation, because it is a word that can be used across the board in multiple different ways and facets. And so sometimes we talk about web, social, and communication as the way that we think about marketing automation and how you should be using it for your email or SMS marketing or your just customer communications in general. So we connect the web, social, advertising, and communications help nurture your buying cycle. So it starts from as simple as your targeted web traffic, all the way to your website visitor, to the day they make a purchase or lead, and into their repeat buying cycle, right? So making sure that you're able to track the person from the day they come to your website, to the day they became a website visitor, to the day they make a purchase or they become a lead into your subscriber, to making sure that you nurture them to make that repeat buying cycle. And where we think about that repeat buying cycle is where we really specialize in, so that we can make sure that we have the right buying signals to make sure you're nurturing your customers so that you can actually repeat that customer sales, so you can maximize that lifetime value of each customer, which is going to inherently help you guys become more successful. So we think about, traffic is a competitive place, but once you get the customer, how do you nurture them to make sure that you can do better with them? So that comes and leads right to this talk. The three most must-have automations and abandoned carts. The three must-have automations that abandoned carts, product recommendations, and customer retargeting. So we're going to jump into that, got some stats, how to set up. I'm going to talk about all that stuff here in just 1 second here. All right, so abandoned cart, let's talk about the stats, how it works, best practices, and how to set goals. And I'll even give you some examples as well to give you a better feeling of exactly what you should be thinking about. So how it works. All right. So first things first, let's talk about the stats. E-commerce companies send multiple abandoned cart emails are likely to get a consumer are likely to increase their sale by 2.4 times. So that's almost 3 times doubling your thing. So you get 10 customers, you may get normally 1 sale, but by using an abandoned cart, you could double that to 2.4 sales. And that's a significant amount of money if you're adding a $500 cart value or $100 cart value, and you're able to double or triple it at that point, right? The next thing, a visitor who is on it. So let's talk about how that works now, right? So a visitor who visits your website, and who could also be on your email list, adds an item to their shopping cart but doesn't complete their purchase. Then an email or SMS is automatically, and this should say SMS behind it as well, an email or SMS is automatically deployed, reminding them of exactly what's on their cart. And then it hopefully prompts the visitor to come return to your website and complete their purchase. Now, that's a very simple automation when you're setting it up. And I've got a bigger automation to show you how we're actually setting up these thought processes. Now, the best practices on timing to set up that perfect abandoned cart email. So this is going to be that example that you're looking for. Here's the first fact real quick. 20% of shoppers convert if their company reminds them within 1 hour regarding their abandoned carts. 1 hour, not 1 day, not 5 days. I know it feels tedious where you may feel like, oh, I'm bothering my customer too much, or I'm too much in front of my customer. But the reality of things is that you want to get in front of them, and they appreciate that for that reason. So you want to send that first reminder within 10 to 30 minutes of your cart abandonment. You want to send 2 to 3 emails over the next 4 days. I'm going to show you that flow in a second of that cart abandonment, and you want to set that up correctly to end it, right? So let's talk about the goals. This is the part where you have to really think about what you're really setting them up for. Here's where people fail in setting up their automations correctly. You've got to set your goal, right? You need to signal the automation that when a goal is accomplished, a trigger of something like a sale happens, that you stop that communication immediately. That's going to help them. And you also want to make sure that you can push them to the next stage. So some examples of goals here are, they make a checkout or a purchase, a product upgrade, a webinar opt-in or lead opt-in, or a download of some sort if you're selling a digital product as well, right? So now, how does this all recommend to a client, right? So when we think about it, what do we say? So shopper abandons the cart. You want to wait about an hour or less. You want to deploy that first email. You want to wait about 12 hours. But deploy that second email out. Then you want to wait about 12 hours. Then you want to deploy the first SMS maybe here. And this isn't perfect. It's what we recommend. Every business is different, of course. Then you want to wait about 48 hours. Then you want to deploy that final email. Now, what happens behind this, what you're seeing on this flow and what you're doing in your true marketing automation is, notice on the bottom right, there's this thing that says goal, purchase, right? I said to this workflow, anytime a person makes a purchase, we need to stop that automation, stop deploying those messages, and move them to the next place, which is probably going to be some type of product recommendation or maybe a general newsletter that you want to opt them into. And then on the left-hand side, I wrote here, basically, if you've gone through 3 emails and they just aren't buying and they're not interested, stop sending them continuous emails or SMSs. Let's go ahead and put them on some type of general newsletter and find their next buying cycle through customer retargeting, which we'll show just a little bit later in this presentation, okay? All right, so the next step you have, once you set up your abandoned cart, because that's the most basic thing you need to set up, is you need to have a product recommendation engine, building your avatar, what to expect, and the goals behind them as well, too. So when you want to first start off by understanding your customer avatar. And what I mean by that is we really need to understand by having a detailed profile of your ideal customer based on the market research and the data from your existing customers, right? Now, because we're able to engulf inside your website, your Shopify store, or whatever store you may be using, your pages and everything, and then tying our marketing automation tool, how we think about it is, how do we really see what the customer is doing? What products are they visiting before they actually make that purchase? How long are they spending there? What kind of devices are they using? And all that information builds your customer avatar. I'm sure you guys have seen the movie Avatar. It's that little blue thing that could be anything, right? So we think about that customer avatar as a blank slate that you're developing, designing. It's what you use for your advertising. It's what you use for your marketing efforts. It's what you use to get customers. And they generally do have some type of lookalike scenario there, which allows you to target that for your advertising later on as well, too. So the first thing we ask people when we say, is this your customer avatar, is the message relevant to the wants and needs of each individual shopper, or is it too generic? So keeping that core target of understanding who your market is and how that fit works is making sure that your message is also relevant and providing the information that they need to make sure that they are right and have their individual shop is the right message with the right content, with the right time behind it as well, too. You want to also identify you're using segmentation on your site, and this is data that you can take. Then you want to personalize that content for each users. Maybe they visited only remember we talked about this iPhone case store that I pretended we had, and maybe you just want to target people who have iPhone cases, or maybe you want to get even hyper segmented. Said, I want people who bought not only iPhone cases but iPhone X or iPhone XS or 5 or 7 or whatever it may be that you want to identify even deeper. So thinking about segmentation is really powerful. It takes a little bit more work, but it will reap massive rewards behind it. All right. So that all comes to a data-driven decision based on a purchase history and site visits. And you see this cool little diagram. And what that is really that cycle of life when it comes to a customer. They're really bouncing around, making purchases, making website visits, opening emails, and so forth. So to me, it's all important to think about how you're deploying that targeted, personalized product recommendation, enticing your new customers to buy again. So if I bought this iPhone case, I bought this pop second behind it, right? This is an upsell, right? But if you were sell and take a person who bought an iPhone case and say, hey, by the way, now that your iPhone case is on, it might be a little bit slipperier. It might not be as sturdy. Why don't you add a pop socket to the back that will attach perfectly to your product so that you can use it? Now you've added another, I think these are like $15 each. So maybe the case was $25. I was able to take this and add this case to it for $15 more. Now your customer LTV went from $25 to $40, right? And it's really simple, but if you can understand the buying signals of the user and being able to identify who they are, you'll be able to make better emails or better communications so that you can drive them back to your site to make that next purchase, right? And now that they've already bought from you, I'm happy that I got my iPhone case. I'm going to be more willing to buy from you again as well, too. And that'll lead to the next part. The thing that you think about that's so important is all you want to do is nurture all your leads and leads and customers with a multitude of automated, personalized communication. And all it does is increases your customer value in autopilot. So once they exit out that abandoned cart, or maybe they just come straight to a purchase, once that comes in, it's really important to make sure that you've created the workflows around your product recommendations so you can continue to drive and upsell those customers. Again, in a meaningful way. You don't want to bombard them with 50, 80, 100 emails, but you want to send them enough emails so that you can kind of show that, hey, I'm listening, I see your buying signals, I want to help you make the next purchase. And you traditionally only see these types of options from companies like Amazon or eBay, or large companies that have these things built into their system because they realize and recognize, especially at the large capacity, that they need to work on the bottom of their funnel, which is to create that repeat buying cycle that's required to really make a company very successful. Last but not least, when you nurture a person, you create a great brand experience. So you can increase the value of every customer in your funnel, because when you're so concentrated and working on that bottom of the funnel, what really happens with that is you really show the care and nurture throughout the funnel, and people are more inclined to make more purchases with you because they trust your brand, because they feel like you really care about what they actually want and need, not what you want to sell. So that's a really important to think about, what they want and need and not what you sell, right? So that's how you can help cater, drive that decision on their side, right? So now when you're setting up automation goals to drive repeat buying cycles, we think about some important things. When your new converted lead has completed a purchase, you have one of two options. First, you can end the automation and send them to your next product down a second funnel designed to nurture towards a repeat purchase. And that's done through relevant communications based around what they already know, what they're most likely to engage with, and buy. Or you can ultimately maximize your overall customer lifetime value through that completed automation cycle of repeat buying cycle. Now, let's jump to the third thing. That's customer retargeting. How's it done? How's it work? What does it do? What works best, right? So retargeting, I'm sure plenty of people know what retargeting is at one level or another. It's when you visit a site, a website, a product, you abandon cart, any of these things, when they send you customer communication emails back to say, hey, don't forget to complete your purchase. So again, I'll use this phone since it's near me. I go to Amazon.com. I look at this cell phone case. I like it. I stare at it for a while, then I exit the page, right? And then 24 hours, 3 days, maybe an hour later, you get an email from Amazon saying, hey, thanks for looking at the page. Are you interested, right? I didn't put my email in. I didn't sign in. I didn't tell him who I was. But through filtering and matching through data prints and footprints on the internet, you're able to, and I'm sure you've accepted these cookies before and seen that, those cookies allow a business to be able to say, hey, you know what? Jimmy just looked at his iPhone case. Let's send him this reminder to say, by the way, don't forget, there's an iPhone case. Maybe I was busy. Maybe my 2-year-old was screaming at me on my left-hand side and I exited it, right? But I did want to buy it, but I forgot about it now 3 days later. And I get this email and it reminds me that I want to go ahead and make that purchase, right? That's what retargeting is at a very simple level, right? So it's also known as remarketing. Retargeting is a form of online advertising used to get your website visitor to come back through different forms of paid advertising and email marketing. And this is accomplished through use of tracking pixels. Pretty black and white what it means. If it doesn't sound like you understand it, don't worry. You don't need to truly understand how it works. Just understand what it does and be able to apply then actionable steps inside of your tools, all right? Fact is, a website visitor is 70% more likely to convert when they're brought back to your website through retargeting, because it's so personalized and such a intimate behavior of yours, because you're saying, hey, I saw you look at this phone, man, like come back and buy this. Here's a 10% off coupon, whatever it may be to make a person want to do that. That's all it really takes. So really giving the ability to drive down and being able to communicate, giving a true one-on-one type interaction, but to put them at true scale, it's one of the most powerful ways to really think about. And it's one of those very mandatory things that you should be doing in it. And if you have the right automation tool like our tool, you'll also be able to connect your Facebook advertising, for example, and be able to deploy custom audiences and remove people from custom audiences as things are happening, so you can make sure that it's dynamically and you're not wasting money on advertising as well too. So let's jump in. Now, how does automation retargeting work? So I just talked about this a second ago, but maybe you're a visual user. So let me talk about it this way. A visitor who's a subscriber on your email list or a customer of yours or a lead visits your website. The visitor learns about your product, but ends up leaving before taking action. They don't opt into a form. They don't make a purchase. They don't view a particular page. Maybe they make a purchase. Maybe they view a particular page or click on a certain link. Whatever it may be, they didn't make the actual action, which is the purchase. An email is deployed to convince the visitor to come back to your site, all without actually lifting a finger. What you're doing is you're doing dynamic retargeting and saying, hey, thanks for visiting my store. Here's a link to come back. We're running a 10% off coupon or whatever it may be. A lot of times e-commerce companies will incentivize through discounts. So that's a perfect way to be able to communicate that as well too. All right. So let's just recap real quick. The 3 must-have automations that you need to have in your store. 1, abandoned cart. We need to retrieve potentially lost sales by bringing potential customers back to your site to convert and complete a purchase. 2, let's talk about product recommendations, sending relevant communications to maximize your overall customer lifetime. It means sending the right content with the right person at the right time based around their buying cycle and their information that they've provided you, along with your website browsing and everything else. Three, and last but not least, is really that customer email and SMS retargeting. Let's bring that customer back to your site to complete that absolute desired action. And that's what's really important behind all this. Now, why marketing automation? Just as a last thing, it facilitates that personalized conversation with your end client and customer at high volume and scale. It provides you with unique, useful content to help nurture and build your loyalty, right? That's really important to build that loyalty to that customer. I mean, that's exactly what you guys were just listening to about Facebook groups. That's what you're trying to create. You want to convert that lead to your customer and even grow a brand champion from your repeat customer base. So growing that brand champion, word of mouth and organic growth is what's going to accelerate your e-commerce company way past that initial growth stage when it comes to your paid side. If you can't get the organic side traction going, it's really hard to continue scaling because you're just continuously pouring money on the left-hand side on top of the funnel and bringing it in. So you need to make sure you're nurturing at the bottom of the funnel so you can create champions that are going to go out and really talk about your brand, your product, create repeat or referral business, and so forth. You need to make it's a perfect addition to tying all your marketing efforts together. We tie your Facebook advertising, for example, your website, for example, your communications, and then the final, the purchase history, all in one little thing. So we're like what we like to consider, a marketing automation tool is like kind of like your middleware, where it sits between a bunch of tools to help you, but it's the end of the cycle, which means this is where all the money is made when it comes down to it. There's a reason why email marketing is still relevant in this world, and it's going to continue to be relevant. It's because most people are making their purchases through email, not through chatbots, not through automated this or that. Reality is people need to have that last touch by email, which is why attribution on email is such a powerful thing. So with this all talk, I wanted to send out a free book. It's a cool little book called, I think it's the future of marketing automation, really talking deeper about exactly what I just talked about here on this presentation. I wanted to give you guys a thing that you can digest. It's an easy read. It's about 20 pages. It's really going to talk about it. In fact, I made it very agnostic to the fact that it's not talking about just Sendlane. I didn't want to make a book. I'm just not a person that wants to make a book only about my product. Sure, I refer and talk about it, but really I talk about even the other tools and options that you might have out there. But this book is a great way to have that, get that book. And now what's going to happen when you do it, of course, because I'm a sales guy and I can't just let that happen, let you download it. I'm going to connect you with one of our experts, and they'll give you a custom tailored demo of our platform and find out how we can help you increase your ROI and LTVs 100% automated. So part of that information when you go out there and opt in and grab this book, again, 100% free. We're going to ask you a couple questions because we like to survey people and really have a better understanding so we can come back and when we talk on the phone with you with either myself or one of my reps, they're going to talk to you about what you're doing, and they're industry experts. So they're going to listen to you. They're going to find out what your needs are and try to make sure we can position your best solution for you. Outside of that, I don't think I have this here for some reason, but I do also have an email if you want to connect with me. My email is jk@sendlane.com. So JK, like Jimmy Kim, jk@sendlane.com. Please, if you have questions, if you just want to comment about this presentation, or you don't like the presentation or whatever it may be on your side, I would love for you guys to send me feedback, or maybe you just have, maybe you have some more questions about what it is that we're doing, or something deeper than that if you want. That's something that you have to absolutely think about when you're doing your thing as well too. So I think about that as being super important, having that open communication for you. So jk@sendlane.com is my email. If you just go to sendlane.net/first100, again, you notice the .net, that's only so far we can track it. It allows you to download the book, and you'll be able to download the book and instantly enjoy that book, enjoy it, read it, learn about it, and when you're ready, our experts are already connecting with you immediately to see when you can schedule that time. So the goal is it's like pre-homework, learn about the product, and then you'll be able to get on a call behind it. And that's it. Derek, thank you for having me here. I always love doing these things. I hope somebody or everybody got tons of some content and value behind it as well too, and we can continue to help empower the world with stronger marketing automation.
I love it. And I think that was just the perfect way to end this event, because it really ties together the right moments to nurture our audience with. So thank you very much, Jimmy.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm going to turn that off there, and we should be good.
Go ahead. And we sent the links here in chat. Ironically, I have something along the lines of a 25% proper link send rate today in chat. But all the right links are there, and they are in the doc. So really quick for everyone here still today, The notes on today's event can be found at ecomtech.link/stack advice. If you just scroll down a few pages, you'll see some of the link notes from every single session. In some cases, we're linking to the slides for the session and all of those things. You will also be able to see all of these sessions and replays for free in perpetuity. In just a couple of days, I have to cut them and publish them for you, but I'll have them out as soon as I can. So thanks again, Jimmy, for closing this out with us. Is great to have you. And I'll send you out as an attendee so that I can do a final spiel for everyone really quick here. Guys, it was really an honor today to have you here from the moment that we started with technical difficulties through me telling you about my passions of entrepreneurship, all the way to John's session on community building, closing out on email marketing automation. After today, you will be sent a brief survey asking you how you feel about the summit. If you can, take a second. Give me your honest feedback. Was this good? Was this bad? What could we have done to improve things? I don't need feedback about the link being broken. I know that was bad. But anything else that you can share with me, I'd love to know. What other topics did we miss? Speakers that you'd like to hear from, et cetera, et cetera. If you are struggling to figure out the right tool for your stack or for your store, hit me up. I do these forever free consultations. I've had a few people here already book them with me, and thank you so much. I'm starting to actually fill up on these, but I really do enjoy talking to you, walking you through what I think your starting strategy is. Obviously, I laid a lot of it out in my opening keynote, but there's always more to do when we talk about your store uniquely and the things that are unique to you. So I'm happy to talk more about that. Alternatively, if you can, keep an eye on our site, ecommercetech.io, where we regularly demo products and do 5-minute recaps and industry analyses to make it as easy as possible for you to understand the complex and fragmented market of the tech tools that are out there. Really quick, I know I want to share this YouTube link so that you're able to get the replays very easily. I will send a recap email with more of this information as well. Look forward to staying in touch with everybody here and getting to know your store and seeing you progress towards building a scalable and profitable e-commerce business. Remember, the second you started your store, you became a target. And it's your job to filter the signal from the noise, focusing on improving your own filter on what is going to move the needle for your business and what is not right now and what you spend your money on. I personally, I don't know if I was the victim of it, but I invested significant amounts of money early on in traveling to different events, live events. I bought tons of online courses, and I bought all the books that you can kind of see down here behind me, and many, many other things. So I really did dive deep into, let's say, personal development, even though I didn't consider it that term until like gurus started using that term later. But I do think it's important you really invest in that filter and understanding everything as it pertains to your business. You're going to need to know a lot about a lot for this to succeed. At eCommerce Tech, like I said, we stand firmly against entrepreneurship that can clog your inbox and cause you to invest all your spare money into hopeless courses, tools, or products. Please be careful when choosing what to invest in. Success is a factor of your skill level times by your resources and times by your market dynamics. You can improve all three of these factors over time, but I'm quite confident that you won't succeed unless you get them to an average of 5 out of 10. So be careful with investments until you really feel you've hit that tipping point mark where success is possible. Invest in yourself, learn faster than anyone, find smart people, ask them questions. Pay attention to the markets that you're looking in, the sub-markets, the subcategories, the industries. Focus in a niche, then focus in a niche again until it hurts. Basically, niche till it hurts is the line I stole from a great marketer named Marcus Sheridan. And finally, if you haven't given up after you've made it through all of that, there's just a chance you will succeed. Thank you so much. Good luck, and I will see you guys next time.